I am having trouble deciding how much to award the plaintiff for his back pain. He said it was severe, but I don't see that in the evidence.
Remember the context. The plaintiff was protesting non-violently. Yet, the police beat him with their batons. Such injuries are often quite harmful.
Sadly, I am all too familiar with non-violent protests. However, we must assess severe based on the evidence, not on our experiences.
Well, his doctor testified the pain is permanent. It reminds me of our suffering when we marched against the salt taxes, and we were beaten by your government's forces. I still have terrible back pain.
Yes, but how do you know the plaintiff's pain is as severe as your pain? As I also recall, you still carried on with that march and cost the empire a great deal of money.
Well, the judge said to make the decision on the evidence. My experience with the word severe is an important part of the evidence tendered at this trial.
The judge said to base the decision solely on the evidence we heard in trial. I do not recall you giving any evidence because you are a juror.
How else can we understand the witness's words, other than through our own minds and hearts?
I think we must review the other testimony. The police officer's doctor said the bruises were not bad, and the pain will pass.
Well, tell me, how do you know the meaning of bruises or pain?
We all know the meaning of bruises and pain because all of us have suffered from a painful bruise at some point in our life.
Forgive me, but I do not remember hearing evidence at trial on whether we all suffered a painful bruise at some point in our life. It appears you two are giving evidence, although you are a mere juror like myself.
Well, how can we understand anything that was said at trial without resort to our memories? You are being unreasonable.
If I should not resort to my life experience to understand severe back pain, you should not resort to your memory to understand a painful bruise. If one is wrong, so is the other.
Well, we cannot make a decision based on the evidence if the evidence is meaningless. Is that what you are saying? That a word has no meaning at all? That we cannot understand words unless we have experience with the very words in use?
That is precisely what I am saying. Tell me, what do the words, Tumsamaisake, mean to you?
Now that sounds like Hindi. MG, you know I do not speak Hindi.
I do remember. But my question in Hindi should answer your question in English. Consider that if words held meaning, you should have understood the Hindi despite your lack of experience with the language.
Yes, that is a fair point. But if the meaning of a word is not in the sound of the word or in its written shape, where is this miracle of meaning coming from?
Meaning comes from memory, and memory comes from life experience. We must give words meaning based on our experiences stored in our memory. Ironically, I had asked you in Hindi whether you understood.
I can say now I do. But if meaning is personal, why is it we are able to understand each other right now?
Winston, we were both schooled in English. Therefore, we will often share the same general meaning about English words that we have both experienced. But, we will differ greatly in the details of those same meanings.
So there is no natural connection between words and the meanings they signify. We make the connection in our minds through our experiences with those words. But our experiences differ greatly in the details. Is that correct?
Yes. To understand severe back pain, I think of the painful salt march and you think of a painful bruise. The details of our experiences with those same words are so very different. Yet we both understand that pain generally means discomfort of some kind.
That is astounding.
That is neuroscience.
I now wonder whether any of my speeches were truly understood. But this brings me to an important question. How can we ever share the same details when using the same words if our experiences are so different?
Let me answer your question with a question, but this time in English. Do you know what is an apple tree?
Yes, and in my mind I now see the apple tree at my house in Kent County. But I am sure that is not the apple tree you had in mind when you asked the question. What I want to know is whether you can get me to see the very same apple tree you see in your mind, at the same time you tell me of the tree.
Well, look behind us. Do you see the apple tree?
Yes. It is beautiful but not a match to the one at my home at Kent.
Beauty, Like all meaning is in the memory of the beholder. For now close your eyes and I will ask you a question. Do you agree that the apple tree behind us in this courtyard is beautiful?
Yes, and I believe I have the same apple tree in mind as you do.
To share the details in our mind, we must combine the words with the related images. If we do not, the details will be provided by the listener's life experience with the words used by the speaker. That is the meaning of misunderstanding.
It appears we are actually creating new experiences for old words by integrating words and images. That is incredible.
That is the meaning of meaningful evidence. Without it, justice is blind but not to its own biases. The problem though is the evidence.
Yes, and we have that problem. We only have meaningless evidence to work with today. How do we make a decision on the plaintiff's award?
We will begin by asking the judge to show us the photos of the batons and the bruises described by the witnesses. How else can we see what they saw in their minds when they used those words in court?